Well, hi everyone, Sean Humphreys here. Welcome to All Things Retirement. Well, in this video, we will continue with our discussion on fostering specific traits that will increase the probability of a long, healthy, fulfilled retirement. Now, these traits are not things you should do just before you retire. They're traits that should be fostered hopefully well before your retirement date. In the last video, we talked about the trait of connectivity or connection. So fostering rich relationships, networks, being very intentional about that, thinking through how those networks of relationships will change as you transition into retirement, and what strategies you can use to continue to build networks and relationships. One of the things that happens to people as they age and transition into retirement is that increasingly the age group they associate with ends up being older and older, much like they are. And yet, you want to make sure that you are fostering relationships that are along many different demographic groups or age groups. Not just the people your age, but people that are younger. It's critical that you think through how you're going to do that. It's an important ingredient to retirement success. The other reason is that many seniors are, when they get older, are isolated. They're lonely because they haven't fostered those relationships and connections. So make sure you think through that as part of your overall planning. Now, in today's discussion, we're going to talk about challenge. And challenge will be in two specific areas: physical challenge and, of course, intellectual challenges. Now, if you've not subscribed to our channel, make sure you do that so you don't miss future content. We're putting up content on a regular basis on all aspects of retirement and the journey to retirement, transitioning into retirement, of course, being retired. And it's not just financial and retirement topics, but also overall wealth planning. So hit subscribe if you want to be alerted to future content. Okay, so the first challenge we'll talk about is physical challenges. Now, there's a couple of reasons why you want to be planning out physical challenges. One is, if you don't challenge yourself physically, we're going to lose capacity. So it could be balance. So a lot of times people get injured later in life because they've lost their ability to be balanced, they lose their balance easily. Basic skills physically that you want to maintain, you want to push yourself so you can continue to do those things. So that'll be one reason why you want to challenge yourself in the physical arena. Up to a point, you don't want to be too cavalier, but you want to challenge yourself. And so seniors today are doing things that we never thought seniors would have done 30 years ago. It's quite extraordinary. So don't limit yourself. Don't fossilize your attitudes in this area. Challenge yourself physically, whether it's walking or cycling or lifting weights or being involved in various activities that challenge you physically. Make sure you build that into your program. And again, like I said, well before you retire. Now, there's another really practical reason. So one of the reasons that many people, in fact, are in seniors' long-term care facilities, and many people don't know this, it's because they've lost the physical strength to engage in basic functions in life. So whether it's getting on and off the toilet, in and out of bed, in a chair, out of a chair, basic functions they can't do, mobility issues, because they've lost the physical strength to do it. So they've lost a lot of their lean muscle mass. They may be a very similar weight that they've been for years, but what's happened is their fat percentage has gone up, their lean muscle mass has gone down, and they begin to lose the physical strength to look after those basic functions. The other is we just feel better about ourselves. We just look better when we're engaged in strength exercises. Now, just as a side note, I was watching a podcast with Peter Attia. Peter Attia is a physician who specializes in longevity consulting and training. And he said that one of the biggest predictors of long-term health and longevity is grip strength. And to the extent that you have built into your program the ability to maintain your grip strength, that's actually a predictor to longevity. So it's something to consider. So in the show notes, I'll have a link to that particular podcast. So when my one encouragement to you in this area is if you're not engaged in strength training right now, you should start. You want to seek advice from a strength coach or a fitness facility if you're not involved in one right now, so you can get basic technique and an exercise program. But it is a fountain of youth. Start engaging in strength exercises. Now, the other challenge is cardiovascular or aerobic challenge. Again, a lot of people allow that to slip, but studies have confirmed, and I'll have some links to in the show notes for these studies, that when you tax yourself physically, you work on your aerobic systems, it increases blood flow. That increased blood flow helps to battle dementia and other degenerative diseases cognitively. So you want a regular exercise regime that gets that blood flow going. And there's also a connection as it relates to weight. So heavier people, as you have a higher body mass index, It does compromise people cognitively. Your body's just working harder. There's less blood flow to the brain. So what's the practical takeaway on this discussion on challenge, and specifically physical challenge? Well, if you're already doing these things, working on your balance, your physical strength, flexibility, cardiovascular system, great. You get a gold star. That's excellent. But most people aren't. So you might be in reasonably good health, but the reality is as you get older, your body will begin to break down, and you need to fight against, I keep using the term fossilization, you need to fight against that, because there can be a point of no return where it gets very, very difficult to recover from a long period of inactivity as you get older. So I would recommend that you contact your local health clubs, talk to your friends, find a coach that can help you in this area, and develop a program that will work on your balance, your physical strength, your aerobic capacity, and your flexibility. It doesn't have to be crazy, but you want to engage in activities through the week that will hit upon each of those functional areas of your health. And if you do that, you'll be able to maintain energy and health so that you really enjoy the long-term retirement aspirations that you have, the traveling, the goals, playing with the grandkids, being engaged in your community. Now, the other area, of course, around challenge is intellectual challenge. If we don't flex our mental brain muscles, we can lose capacity. And certainly once we get into our 50s, there's a natural degradation that begins to take place. And so we need to fight against that. So I think most of us basically know intuitively the activities that we can be engaged in to fight back against that progression. So it could be things like hobbies, it could be art, it could be writing, it could be problems to solve, things to fix, engaged in intellectual tasks that challenge you, that may be new things to learn and apply in your life. Even being involved socially has an aspect to it that really enhances cognition as well. So just take a look at your current life right now. Are you kind of in a rut? You're not really challenging yourself. You're doing the same old, it comes easy to you. If you're in that circumstance, then I would encourage you to just fight against that and begin to put things into your schedule that push you a little bit. It doesn't have to be crazy pushing, but start trying new things to flex that intellectual muscle so you don't lose capacity in that area. It's really, really critical. I came across a quote by Miriam Nelson, and she was a physiologist, or is a physiologist with the USDA Research Center on Aging. And she said, much of what we think of as aging is really just a byproduct of inactivity, poor nutrition. It's not hard to change that. Now, I think it's a little more nuanced than that. Like, I think that the things we need to do, it's not a difficult list of things. They're not things that are impossible. I think what makes it difficult is like anything else in our life, whether it's losing weight or any other kind of goal that we have. So life has a way of just, putting inertia in front of us that derails us from our goals and objectives. And that's why when I talk about coaching in our community and the people we associate with, it's so critical to be hanging with people that value the same things that you do. So if you value longevity, health, that aspects of nutrition and physical exercise are important, you need to hang out with people at least some of the time that share those values. But at the end of the day, it really is about best practices, basic things around health. There was another interesting quote which came from the Gerontological Society of America, and it basically said that there's this cyclical relationship, this dynamic between the physical aspects and the intellectual or cognitive aspects. So just like I referenced, the cardiovascular system, or balance, or flexibility, or strength, and then intellectual pursuits that we need to be engaged in, they work hand in hand. So when you're developing your program and being intentional and baby step introduce these activities into your life, there would be this symbiotic relationship that you can really leverage off of. Anyway, that's the second major area we talk about in terms of key traits or ingredients, and that's challenge. So look for ways to challenge yourself intellectually and physically, and that's going to really be an important part of your preparation for a long, healthy, and fulfilled retirement. It's my hope that you found this content helpful. Again, if you're new to our channel, make sure you hit subscribe so that we can get that new content that we produce on a regular basis out to you. And as well, if you're beginning to think about retirement and you're looking to get some concrete advice about whether you're tracking the right direction, whether you're not yet retired but getting closer to that date, or maybe you're already retired and you're wondering whether your current plan is up to the task. Then make sure you hit the link that will take you to our website that will talk about our retirement planning service. We have a complimentary free retirement snapshot service that will tell you whether you're on track, whether there's any issues you need to be thinking about, and some basic strategies for you to consider. So if you want to take advantage of that complimentary service, make sure you hit the link to our website. Anyway, wishing you all the best in your retirement planning journey and your overall wealth planning. You take care.